Hello, my friend. I'm Dr. Ivan Pavlov, not the one with the dogs and the bell, but the one who's been practicing medicine for over 60 years in the snowy, wind-burned villages of Russia. I'm 92 years old now. I've helped deliver more than 3,000 babies, treated pneumonia in log cabins with no electricity, and held hands with the dying while blizzards raged outside. I've seen war, famine, modern medicine rise, and now something else that worries me deeply: what older people are eating. Today I want to talk to you, not as a scientist in a lab coat, but as your doctor, your neighbor, your friend. If you're over 60 or love someone who is, please listen closely. I've made this podcast because there's a trend sweeping across the Western world that looks healthy on the surface, but I've seen it destroy strong bodies slowly, silently. It starts with good intentions. People over 60 want to eat lighter, avoid red meat, skip breakfast, go vegan for the planet, or follow internet gurus who say protein ages you. But what if I told you, kindly but firmly, that this is a terrible mistake? Let me tell you a short story. In 1975, I treated a woman named Klavdia in the outskirts of Tomsk. She was 74, thin, sharp-witted, and walked 5 miles each morning. But one winter she decided to stop eating meat, said it felt lighter. Within 1 year she couldn't get out of bed. Her legs had turned to jelly. Not because of disease, but because her muscles had melted away quietly like snow. She didn't feel it happening until it was too late. Now, I'm not here to tell you what to eat or scare you. I'm here to help you stay strong, physically, mentally, and spiritually, as you age. My goal is to keep you independent, upright, and walking without help into your 80s and 90s. And to do that, we must face a truth that modern diet culture refuses to say out loud. Your body changes after 60, and it needs more, not less. Especially when it comes to building and preserving muscle. So I'll be direct. If you're over 60 and following the wrong kind of healthy diet, you may be slowly losing the very thing that keeps you alive and mobile: lean muscle mass. It's the difference between standing tall and being hunched, between walking unassisted and falling, between living on your own terms or in a facility, dependent on others for basic tasks. I've watched this too many times. In Russia, in the US, in Europe. It doesn't matter the language or income. When older adults cut out the foods that nourish their muscles, they begin to fade. Not in weeks, but over months and years until it's irreversible. But here's the good news. It doesn't have to be this way. In the next part, I'll explain what's happening inside your body after 60 and why certain diet trends, even those praised by the media, are silently working against your strength and longevity. But for now, I ask just one thing. Stay with me, hear me out. This might be the most important health advice you'll hear this year. Because if you want to stay strong, upright, and vibrant, it begins with understanding what your body truly needs and stopping the trends that quietly take it away. Let's begin. When I first came to America to speak at a medical conference, I was shocked. Not by the technology, not by the hospitals, but by what people over 60 were eating. At breakfast, I saw plates filled with fruit, toast without butter, a little almond milk, maybe a plant-based yogurt. No eggs, no real protein, no strength. I said nothing at first, but inside I felt concern growing like a knot in my stomach. You see, there is a belief spreading like wildfire in the West that the older you get, the less you should eat. Less fat, less meat, less protein. And this trend, especially the popularity of vegan and low-protein diets among older adults, is not only wrong, it's dangerous. Let me explain why. When you reach 60, your body enters what I call the resistance phase. It resists absorbing nutrients the way it used to, especially protein. This means that the same piece of chicken or fish that once gave you strength in your 40s now gives you half the benefit or less after 60. So what should you do? Eat more, not less. More protein, more nourishment. But what happens instead? Many seniors decide to eat clean or go plant-based to feel lighter. They cut out meat. They avoid eggs. They replace meals with shakes made of pea protein or powders filled with synthetic ingredients. And they smile, believing they're doing something healthy. Meanwhile, their bodies begin to shrink, not on the outside, but on the inside. Let me be clear, I have nothing against vegetables. In Russia, we eat cabbage, beets, and garlic every day. But plants alone cannot preserve your muscle mass. Not after 60, not even close. I once treated a retired violinist in St. Petersburg. His name was Sergei. He was elegant, precise, and very proud of his plant-based diet. But by age 71, his arms had lost all strength. He couldn't lift his violin anymore. His grip had weakened. His legs shook when he stood, not because of illness, but because he had no protein base to support his muscles. When I examined him, I found no disease, just empty reserves. The scientific term for this is sarcopenia, which simply means age-related muscle loss. It affects up to 1/3 of adults over 60, and in many cases, it's made worse, sometimes even caused, by diets that are low in complete proteins. Now let's talk about what that really means. Complete proteins are those that contain all 9 essential amino acids your body cannot produce on its own. These are found abundantly in eggs, meat, fish, and dairy. Most plant proteins do not contain the full set, unless carefully combined, which few people do correctly. Worse still, many of the new plant-based alternatives you see in stores are highly processed. Full of gums, fillers, seed oils, soy isolates, and additives that are hard for aging stomachs to digest. They do not nourish, they imitate. And your muscles can tell the difference, even if your tongue can't. Some of my American patients say, "But Dr. Pavlov, I thought meat causes inflammation." I understand, you've been told this by many sources. But here's the truth. What causes inflammation is poor quality meat from sick animals, fried in toxic oils, or drowned in sugar-heavy sauces. Clean, well-sourced protein, like boiled eggs, salmon, turkey breast, or broth, is not your enemy. It's your medicine. There's another layer to this. When your muscles weaken, your bones follow. When your bones weaken, your balance falters. And that's when the cascade begins. Falls, fractures, hospital beds. I've seen it too many times. I urge you to rethink what's on your plate. Are you truly feeding your body what it needs, or are you feeding it what sounds popular on the internet? You don't need to eat like a bodybuilder. But you do need to eat like someone who wants to remain standing tall, walking freely, and living independently for as long as possible. I say this with deep respect and love. If you're following a low-protein, plant-based diet after 60, you may be slowly erasing the very strength you need to live the life you want. And the worst part? Most people don't notice it until it's almost too late. In our next conversation, I will show you exactly what I eat every day, and why it's kept me strong, mobile, and full of energy well into my 90s. But for now, take a quiet moment. Look at your daily meals. Ask yourself, is this food building my body or quietly breaking it down? That's where true health begins. People often ask me, Dr. Pavlov, how do you still walk without a cane? How do you speak for hours, sleep well, and keep your mind so sharp at 92? My answer is always simple. I eat to stay alive, not just to feel full. What I put on my plate is my medicine, and after 60, every bite must count. So today, I'll tell you exactly what I eat and why. Not because I think everyone must copy me, but because my body is proof that this way of eating works. It's not fancy, it's not trendy, but it works. I start each day around 6:30 a.m. The first thing I consume is warm water with a pinch of sea salt and a squeeze of lemon. This wakes up the digestion gently. 30 minutes later, I eat my breakfast, and this is the most important meal of my day. It always includes protein, always 2 boiled eggs, or sometimes 1 egg and a slice of smoked salmon. Alongside that, I'll have half an avocado, a slice of rye bread with butter, and occasionally a spoonful of cottage cheese. If I'm in Russia, I add fermented vegetables like sauerkraut, which feed the gut. Why protein in the morning? Because after 60, your body needs signals to build muscle, and the first signal is breakfast. If you skip it or eat only fruit, your body stays in a catabolic state. It breaks down rather than builds up. Mid-morning, I sip tea made from nettle leaves or dandelion root. These herbs support the liver and kidneys. Sometimes I'll have a small piece of cheese or a handful of walnuts. Nothing sugary, nothing that spikes blood sugar. Lunch is always warm, always homemade. Her bowl of bone broth with beef or chicken, slowly cooked with bones and connective tissue. This is rich in collagen, glycine, and minerals. It strengthens joints and skin, yes, but more importantly, it supports recovery and satiety. With the broth, I'll have cooked vegetables, never raw in large amounts. My favorite is beetroot with garlic. I also eat buckwheat or barley, grains that have been used in Russia for centuries and don't spike sugar levels. I include a palm-sized portion of meat or fish, nothing fried. If I eat poultry, I eat it with skin and bones, not just dry breast meat. In the afternoon, I don't snack unless I'm truly hungry. If I do, it's kefir, a fermented dairy drink full of probiotics. I drink the full-fat version. Your brain is made of fat. Cutting fat after 60 is like cutting oil from an engine and expecting it to run. Dinner is light, a piece of grilled liver or sardines with boiled potatoes, sometimes just soup and a boiled egg. I never go to bed full, and I stop eating at least 2 hours before sleep. One night a week I fast lightly, only herbal tea and broth. This gives the digestive system a rest. But I do not follow long fasts. After 60, you are not trying to lose weight. You are trying to preserve muscle and protect the organs. Now let me explain a few small but powerful additions. I take cod liver oil 3 times a week. I sprinkle turmeric on my eggs. I eat raw garlic 3 times a week for the immune system, and I walk every day after lunch, even if it's just 15 minutes in snow. I also avoid modern health foods. I don't touch plant-based meat, margarine, or protein powders. They are not real foods, they are products, and your body is too wise to be fooled by packaging. Finally, I listen to hunger. Not emotions, not habits, just hunger. After 90 years, I've learned this. The body speaks. It tells you what it needs if you are quiet enough to listen. So I share this with you not as a prescription, but as a window into a life that has lasted long and strong. You don't need superfoods. You don't need exotic powders. You need real food, eaten with consistency, reverence, and care. In our next conversation, I'll explain what to do if you've already lost muscle or feel weak. There is still time to rebuild, believe me, but first, look at your plate. Ask yourself, is this food building the man or woman I want to be at 85? The answer begins in your kitchen. Many people believe that once muscle is lost after 60, it's gone forever. That is simply not true. I've seen men and women in their 70s and 80s regain strength, energy, and mobility. It takes consistency, not perfection, and it begins with small daily decisions. Let me tell you about a patient named Elena. She was 74, widowed, and had not walked without a cane in 2 years. She believed her weakness was due to old age. But when we reviewed her habits, I saw the real cause. No protein in the morning, no physical activity, poor sleep and constant stress. She wasn't sick, she was simply undernourished and deconditioned. So we started with just 3 habits, only 3. First, she began eating 25 grams of protein within 30 minutes of waking, usually 2 eggs and some cottage cheese. This single change sent a signal to her body. Build, don't break. Within 1 month, she reported less shakiness in her legs. Second, she walked every day, even if just inside her apartment. She held onto the wall at first, then furniture, then nothing. After 3 weeks, she began using resistance bands. No gym, just simple movements, pulling, pushing, stepping. Slowly, her thighs regained volume, her back straightened, and her breathing improved. Third, she focused on sleep. We removed the television from her bedroom. She drank chamomile tea before bed. She stopped eating 2 hours before sleep. These small rituals helped her rest deeply, which is when the body repairs and grows. After 3 months, she no longer used her cane. After 6 months, she danced at her granddaughter's wedding. This is not magic, this is biology. Your body was designed to adapt even in older age. But it cannot do this without the raw materials, protein, movement, and rest. You do not need to lift heavy weights. You do not need to run. In fact, I do not recommend those things if you haven't trained in years. Start small. Use your own body. Do 10 sit-to-stands from a chair each morning. Walk after meals. Lift cans of soup if that's all you have. What matters is consistency. If you train your muscles, they will respond. If you feed them, they will grow. If you rest them, they will rebuild. This is true at 60, 70, and even 90. But the key is to start now. I tell my patients, your body listens to everything you do. It listens when you skip breakfast, it listens when you sit all day, and it listens when you begin again. It's not too late. Not if you still want to walk without help, not if you still want to carry your own groceries, not if you still want to get out of a chair without someone pulling you up. Your muscles are still with you. They are waiting for your signal. So today, send it. The next step is understanding how to avoid future damage and protect the strength you're beginning to rebuild. That's where we go next. Before we finish, I want to speak to you not only as a doctor, but as someone who has lived a long life, one filled with mistakes, corrections, and lessons. If you've listened this far, I believe you truly care about your future, and that is rare. Most people wait until it's too late. You haven't. So let me give you my final warning, and then my deepest encouragement. If you're over 60 and you continue following a diet that starves your muscles, you are putting your independence at risk. Not immediately, not this week, but slowly, silently, in ways you won't feel until one day you fall, or you can't stand up, or your arms can no longer lift your grandchild. This is what I've seen again and again. People think they are eating clean or light, when in reality they are removing the very building blocks of life. They think they are doing good, when they are actually opening the door to frailty. Please, stop following trends blindly. Stop believing that just because something is popular, it is right for you. After 60, your body is not the same as it was at 30. It doesn't respond the same way. You must give it what it truly needs, not what looks good on a magazine cover or a website. And now my encouragement. You are not too late. I've treated patients in their 70s, 80s, even 90s who turned their health around. Not with injections, not with expensive programs, but with food, movement, and belief. Yes, belief. Because this is what I know. The body listens, but so does the spirit. If you believe you are broken, you will behave like someone who is broken. If you believe you are too old, your body will agree. But if you believe that life still has strength, purpose, and joy to offer, you will begin to live like it. My advice is simple. Wake up each day and treat your body like a garden. Feed it, move it, rest it, and protect it. Pull the weeds of confusion and lies. Water it with real food and real effort, and in time, you will see strength grow again. I am 92. I do not run marathons. I do not chase youth. I chase clarity, and I live with discipline. I eat well, I walk often, and I sleep like a man who knows he has done his part. You can too. You don't need to be perfect. Just consistent, just honest with yourself, just willing to change one habit at a time. And if I could sit across from you now, I'd take your hand and say this: you are not old, you are alive. And while you are alive, you can build. Let no one tell you otherwise. Now go and begin.